Hello students, today we will discuss some interesting results about groups of certain orders being abelian. So we will start with the group of order 3 and we will prove that every group of order 3 is abelian. So we will take any arbitrary group of order 3. Now whatever may be the group, it definitely must have identity. So we will take our identity element as E. So let G equal to EAB. So suppose our group has 3 elements, one of them has to be identity. Besides that, it will have 2 other elements and there will be some binary operation star on it. And these are 3 distinct elements because we are saying that the order of the group is 3. So it has exactly 3 elements. And just using the fact, see, we do not know what is the group, what are the elements in the group, we do not know what is the binary operation on the group, and yet we have to prove that if G has 3 elements, from this one fact alone, it should follow that the group is abelian. So, in order to prove that a group is abelian, I need to prove that x star y is equal to y star x for all x and y in G. Of course, if x is the same as y, then the equation will be trivially satisfied. So, I will prove this. I'll prove this equation for all pairs of elements x and y where x and y are different. So I will prove it for E and A, I will prove it for E and B, and I will prove it for A and B. So I will prove that the commutative property is satisfied for these 3 pairs. Now firstly, because E is identity, E star A must be equal to A star E must also be equal to A, and therefore it will follow that A star E is equal to E star A. Also, E combined with B in whichever direction I take it will be equal to B. So once again, B star E is the same as E star B. That means the commutative property works for this pair, it also works for this pair, and therefore only we need to verify the property for this pair AB. So we need to prove that A star B is equal to B star A. Firstly, because A and B are elements of G, by the closure property, it will follow that A star B is also an element of G. So we call it closure property, or star is a binary operation. So if these 2 elements lie in G, their product will also lie inside G. Now if it has to lie inside G, it has to be either this element, either this or this. We have only 3 choices. So if A star B is an element of G, it will have to be equal to one of the 3 elements of G. I will prove that it cannot be equal to A, it cannot be equal to B, so there will be only one option left, it will have to be equal to E. So firstly, let us see what happens if it is equal to A. So suppose A star B is equal to A. Now there is a simple trick involved. Remember, identity can be put anywhere in the equation because that's not going to change the equation. Identity combined with any other element is the same element. And now it's a group. Let's not forget, we have cancellation laws. So by the left cancellation law, this will mean B is equal to E. But if B were to be the same as E, how many elements do you think would be there in the set? You never repeat an element in a set. So then this set would have only 2 elements. But our set is supposed to be having 3 elements. So this is not possible. So A star B cannot be equal to A. This option is out. Now let us see what happens if A star B is equal to B. Now you cleverly adjust the identity. Remember, you can put the identity either to the left or to the right. So this time I put it to the left of B and use the right cancellation law. So if I use the right cancellation law, I'll now get A equal to E, and just like this also is not possible, because if A and E were to be equal, once again G will have only 2 elements. So this also is not possible. That means it can be equal to this, and that leaves us with only one option. A star B has to be in G. It can't be this, it can't be this. So A star B has to be equal to E. Now use a similar argument. Pause your video and see what happens to B star A. So we can prove that B star A will also be equal to E, and therefore commutative property works for the final pair also, and therefore this group is abelian. So every group of order 3 is abelian. Now it could be a good question as to what happens if the order of a group is less than 3 or more than 3. Firstly, what do you think will happen if the order of the group is less than 3? Say for example, the order of the group is 2. If the order of the group is 2, it's going to have only 2 elements, identity and A, and they'll commute with each other because this element is identity. You can also draw possible composition tables and check. So if it is a group of order 2, definitely it is abelian. What if it is a group of order 1? Think about it. Yes, if it's a group of order 1 also, it will be abelian, because then it will have only identity and nothing else. So if I have a group of order 1 or 2 or 3, then it is abelian. Now let us see what will happen if we have a group of order 4. So let us prove that every group of order 4 is abelian. So this time I will take a group containing 4 distinct elements, and since one element has to be identity, I will take one element as E, and besides that it will have 3 other elements, say A, B and C. Now here it may not be very easy to check it for individual pairs, so I need to use some other reason, and we look at the last result that we proved in the earlier lecture. The result is, if I have a group of even order, and I can apply that result here because this is a group of order 4, it's a group of even order. What was the result? If I have a group of even order, other than the identity, there is at least one more element which will be equal to its own inverse. Now that element could be any one of these. So without loss of generality, we will assume that A is equal to its own inverse. So of course identity is always equal to its own inverse, but the result says if I have a group of even order, then other than the identity there is at least one more element which is equal to its own inverse. It doesn't matter to me which one it is. So without loss of generality, I take that element as A. So now E is equal to E inverse, A is equal to A inverse. Now the question is, what about B inverse? Now notice that B inverse can be either B or it can be C. So we actually have 2 cases. So let's look at case 1. Suppose B inverse is equal to B. Now E is already equal to E inverse, A is equal to A inverse, B is equal to B inverse. So then what do you think will be C inverse? Try and figure it out. C inverse will have to be equal to C. Now if you want, you can draw the composition table. Inverse of each element is the same element. Now if it is a group, you must have every element exactly once in every row and every column. So this will be C, this will be B, and this will have to be A. So from the composition table, you will notice that all elements are placed symmetrically about the diagonal. Therefore, commutative property is satisfied. This is one way of doing it. Another way is to observe that in this group, every element is equal to its own inverse. And if that happens, the group has to be abelian. So this is one case. Another case is when B is not equal to B inverse. So suppose B is not equal to B inverse. So I have E, A, B, C. Inverse of E is E. Inverse of A is A. And now inverse of B is not B. So the only option left for it is C. And therefore inverse of C will have to be equal to B. So if B is not equal to B inverse will have to be C, and C inverse will therefore have to be equal to B. Now look at the composition table in this case. E, A, B, C. E is identity. So my first row will be the same as the heading row. My first column will be the same as the heading column. Inverse of A is A, so I'll get identity here. And in every row and every column, every element must appear exactly once. So it can't be BC here, otherwise B will be repeated. It will have to be CB here, CB here. For B, inverse is C. So for B, I'll get identity here. And this will have to be A. Now once again, check the commutative property from here. And these are the only two cases. So in both cases, commutative property is satisfied. Therefore, I can say that every group of order 4 is also abelian. Now we have not done isomorphic groups so far, but very intuitively I'll tell you about this. See, there is something different between the structures of these two groups. Here, every element is equal to its own inverse, but that property does not work here. So there is an algebraic property which is different between the two groups, and these are the only two groups possible. So one can show that there are two different. Right now I'll use inverted commas. When we study isomorphic groups, we will learn what is the actual meaning of this. So there are two different groups of order 4, and in the earlier case, there was exactly one group of order 3. Now, the next question is, what happens if you have a group of order 5? What I want you all to do is try it out as an exercise. Prove that if you take any, I'll give you the result. Prove that every group of order 5 is abelian. So you take any group of order 5, try and right now, try and draw all possible composition tables and make sure that in every case it is abelian. At the end of it, it will also be very interesting to answer the question, how many different groups will you get of order 5? So what have we proved to summarize in this? Every group of order 1 is abelian, every group of order 2 is abelian, 3 is abelian, 4 is abelian, 5 is abelian. So one can prove that every group of order less than or equal to 5 is abelian. And a little later in the course, we will give an example of a group of order 6, which is non-abelian. So if you want the smallest non-abelian group, it will have to have at least 6 elements. But more about this later in the course. Thank you.